Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Nazma Umar, your English teacher from Punjab Group of Colleges. Today we will do our 15th unit, that is University Days, written by James Thurber. First we will see its passages, then we will move on towards its summary, and finally we will discuss its question answers according to the new board pattern. Let's discuss its passages first. I passed all other courses that I took at my university, but I could never pass botany. This was because all botany students had to spend several hours a week in a laboratory looking through a microscope a plant cell, and I could never see through a microscope. I never once saw a cell through a microscope. This used to enrage my instructor. He would wander around the laboratory, pleased with the progress of all the students were making in drawing the involved and, so I am told, interesting structure of flower cells, until he came to me. I would be just standing there. I can't see anything, I would say. He would begin patiently enough, explaining how anybody can see through a microscope, but he would always end up in a fury, claiming that I could too see through a microscope, but just pretended I could not. It takes away the beauty of the flowers anyway, I used to tell him. We are not concerned with the beauty in this course, he would say. We are concerned solely with what I may call the mechanics of flowers. Well, I would say I can't see anything. I finally took a deferred pass, as they called it, and waited a year and tried again. So we tried it with every adjustment of microscope known to man. With only one of them did I see anything but blackness of familiar lactical opacity. And that time I saw, to my pliant amusement, a variegated constellation of flecks, specks and dots. These I hastily draw. The instructor, noting my activity, came from an adjoining desk, a smile on his lips, eyebrow high in hope. He looked at my cell drawing. What's that? He demanded, with a hint of squeal in his voice. That's what I saw, I said. You didn't, he screamed, losing control of his temper instantly. He bent over and squinted into microscope. His head snapped up. That's your eye, he shouted. You have fixed the lens so that it reflects. You have drawn your own eye. Actually, James Thurber has discussed the general phenomenon which an average university student has to face. For example, an average student has to study the subject which they do not like at all. But for their degree, they have to go through. So, this is an autobiographical lesson written in third-person pronoun in which he has discussed his own personal problem that he could not grasp the instructions given by the instructor. Let's discuss its summary and questions. Move on towards second board. अब इसकी समरी डिस्कस करते हैं. ये एक ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल लेसन है जिसमें राइटर ने अपना प्रॉब्लम डिस्कस किया है और अपने आप को एज एन एवरेज स्टूडेंट प्रेजेंट किया है. He does not like botany at all and he cannot see through microscope. और ये एक उसका यूनिवर्सल प्रॉब्लम है क्योंकि एक एवरेज स्टूडेंट भी यही प्रॉब्लम फेस करता है. बॉटनी लेकिन उसको बॉटनी पढ़नी पड़ती है. He has to study botany for his degree. After 1 year of his effort, he cannot pass through and finally he gets his deferred pass. Next year, he applied all his energy but all in vain. And finally, he draws the structure of his eye. हमने ना सिर्फ इसमें जेम्स थर्बर को बल्कि इंस्ट्रक्टर का बिहेवियर जो कि प्लेजेंट था in the beginning of the lesson, लेकिन in the end he gave up. और ये एक जनरल बिहेवियर है जो कि आप अपने समरी में, अपने थीम में इसको डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. लेकिन चूंकि ये ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल है तो राइटर ने इसको फर्स्ट पर्सन प्रोनाउन में लिखा है. लेकिन जब हम इसकी थीम या इसकी समरी जब आप इसको जॉट डाउन करेंगे तो आप इसको थर्ड पर्सन प्रोनाउन में और सिंपल इंग्लिश के साथ एक्सप्रेस करेंगे. Which subject the narrator could not pass in university and why? आपको पता है he could not pass botany because he does not like botany at all and he cannot see through microscope. नरेटर को स्ट्रक्चर सेल का दिखाया जाता है रिपीटेडली. इंस्ट्रक्टर अपनी बेस्ट एफर्ट पुट करते हैं एंड शोड हिम द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द सेल बट ही ओनली नोटिस द नेबुलस मिल्की लाइट सब्जेक्ट. समटाइम्स उसको कभी ब्लैकनेस दिखता है, कभी nebulous like subject or sometimes the constellation of flecks, specks and dot. For second question, let's move on towards third board. What does instructor claim and why he got irritated? Instructor James Thurber के behavior से क्यों irritate हो रहा था और वो ये बार बार क्यों claim करता था कि he could see through a microscope. Actually, बाकी unlike other students, he could not see through microscope. वो ये कहता कि उसको vivid, एक clear सा structure माइक्रोस्कोप के थ्रू देखा जा सकता है, लेकिन उसको कभी भी कोई क्लियर सेल का स्ट्रक्चर नहीं दिखा. वो ये क्लेम करता कि उसे विविड और कुछ रेस्टलेस सा क्लॉकवाइज स्ट्रक्चर जो कि सेल का स्ट्रक्चर है वो देखना है, जबकि राइटर को हमेशा यहाँ पे ब्लैकनेस, लॉट्स ऑफ मिल्क और नेबुलस सा स्ट्रक्चर दिखता और एंड पर उसको वो अपनी ही आई ड्रॉ कर देता है, यानी उसको कभी भी माइक्रोस्कोप से नहीं दिखा. This infuriated his instructor. Let's discuss another question. Discuss behavior of instructor. Obviously, जब जेम्स थर्बर को कुछ भी माइक्रोस्कोप के थ्रू नहीं दिखा, instructor losing his control of temper and finally his head snapped off and he began to quiver because he considered that maybe he failed as a teacher. तो ये 3 क्वेश्चंस हमने देखे जो कि हमें एक एवरेज स्टूडेंट का बिहेवियर एज वेल एज द जनरल बिहेवियर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्टर हमें इस लेसन के थ्रू दिखता है. इस लेसन में जेम्स थर्बर एवरेज स्टूडेंट का बिहेवियर और इंस्ट्रक्टर का रिएक्शन प्रेजेंट करता है कि एवरेज स्टूडेंट को जब वो सब्जेक्ट नहीं पसंद करते, they have to study for their degree. और इंस्ट्रक्टर पहले तो प्लेजेंटली और इन अ गुड वे एक्सप्लेन करते हैं टॉपिक को, लेकिन जब स्टूडेंट उस सब्जेक्ट को ग्रास्प नहीं कर पाते आफ्टर देयर रिपीटेड एफर्ट, तो फिर टीचर्स स्टर्न हो जाते हैं. तो राइटर ने इन अ रिडिकुलस वे इन दोनों चीजों को प्रेजेंट किया है अपने इस ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल लेसन में. ये सिंपल लेसन है जिसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स और टीचर्स के बिहेवियर को उसने एक्सप्लेन किया है. इसके सिनोनिम की तरफ चलते हैं और देखते हैं इसके डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स. लेट्स सी इट्स सिनोनिम्स. विविड, दैट इज ब्राइटली कलर्ड. इंस्ट्रक्टर उसको एक्सप्लेन करता है दैट यू मे सी वेरी विविड इमेज, क्लियर इमेज, ब्राइटली कलर्ड इमेज. सेकेंड इज squeal, means scream, यानी he shouted, वो उसकी आवाज बदल जाती है and he shouted. Enrage, he became angry, means किसी को गुस्सा दिलाना. Nebulous means lacking definite form and content, जिसमें एक nebulous सा स्ट्रक्चर उसे दिखता है, मिल्की सा स्ट्रक्चर दिखता है and he could not see clearly. Grimly means seriously, not in a pleasant mood. ये सारे difficult words थे जो कि इस lesson में थे और hopefully you have learnt a lot today. See you in the next lesson. Allah Hafiz.